In this video, we'll be going over when the next pullback is likely to happen, particular indicator signals that I would be looking for in order to indicate that, well, Bitcoin is very likely to pull back. And I will spoil the surprise, it probably is coming relatively soon. Maybe it even already is kind of at this 90,000-ish region. I mean, Bitcoin has pulled back about 5,000 bucks from there, but of course, this can spill on over into the higher term time frame. So I want to give some very objective signals to be mindful of in this video as to when to expect this next kind of medium term time frame pullback. Higher term timeframes obviously still continue upwards and onwards from here. This is being recorded during a live stream, by the way. If you want to join it in the fun, you can on YouTube, and then you can also join in the weekly Q&A session as well, which is here on Discord, which is free to join in the link in the description below. All right, sweet. Let's start it off right over here with our volatility-based signals, because these are probably the primary signals that I'd really be looking for to denote that a pullback is likely to happen. Now, whenever volatility, which represents the dispersion of returns, gets to extremes here, as represented by the BBWP indicator, we are very likely at least a short-term high. Now, during the most intense moves, this can have like what I call the double derp, where you get two extreme signals relatively close to each other in a row. We haven't seen that just yet here on the 6-hour time frame, which I look to kind of represent medium term. We have certainly seen it on the hourly time frame, but that obviously has produced a nice pullback already, as Bitcoin does trade from 90,000 all the way to 85,000. Yesterday, 5% move to the downside. Everyone goes fucking crazy. In fact, I believe I made a Twitter post about this as well. If you're not following on Twitter, well, I do like to kind of post a lot of flipping shit there, and then also a lot of flipping shit there as well. But yeah, I posted about this yesterday here too. So, ultimately, as we get back into it, the lower term timeframes, the very low term timeframes, like the hourly, have already fired off this signal. That was accompanied by stochastic momentum turning down simultaneously, and also hourly bearish divergence. And whenever you see something like this, you should expect a short-term correction. Now, the short-term correction on the hourly has already been resolved here, as we do see hidden bullish divergence coming off this last low. This is for the hourly very specifically, and it looks like Bitcoin might even put in another drive right here, as the hourly RSI makes an even lower low alongside a potential higher low on price action. Bitcoin will confirm that if we do see an hourly closure above about 88,150. If you see that, Bitcoin very likely does retest 90,000 bucks in the short term, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, that being Tuesday or Wednesday, and we see the 6-hour and the 4-hour time frame continue upwards and onwards here. But again, this is getting really close to initiating an actual pullback, on these sort of medium term time frames, as we do see, again, 6-hour time frame already has seen extremes on BBWP and is below the moving average, both with a negative slope. What I expect to happen here, most likely, is that Bitcoin will actually see the double derp. It'll see the double derp. It'll go extreme again, and the second that it comes back down after hitting the extreme, and when it comes back down below the moving average, that's when Bitcoin very likely does play out, this pullback. But for right now, it actually does look like Bitcoin might just reaccumulate here and try to the upside again. I know that I've been sounding like a broken record with this the last few days, but Bitcoin has continued the last few days as well. And these moves typically do, beget more extreme stuff. Of course, when we go over here to the daily time frame, we can very easily see, Bitcoin is more likely to continue here on the higher term time frame. So short term time frames are very likely to just put in higher lows. And at some point, yes, the daily will do the same thing as well. In fact, the daily is already hitting its first extreme right here, but obviously not even below the moving average just yet. And again, I'd probably be expecting that double derp signal on a significant breakout like this. The daily probably continues before it even pulls back into a real higher low. That is the move that's really going to scare a lot of people, because it'll look something like this. It'll pop up, come down, maybe even come all the way down to like 80 to 82,000 bucks, and then put in a higher low, and then actually try again higher. And that can take obviously a few weeks. This is going to take some time, but I am really starting to look at this market as, I do think that this market will make 6-digit Bitcoin before end of year, in US dollars, that is, by the way. Maybe that even happens around some craziness on Thanksgiving. I'm sure people who are around in 2017 And past cycles. Remember, Thanksgiving time is kind of like one of those weird times where just weird shit happens. I suspect that the blow off is actually yet to come, but we're getting close. We're getting very, very close. In terms of looking for, and also I should also outline over here. I would also not be considering a medium-term high until Bitcoin does have bearish divergence on your 4-hour and 6-hour time frames. And right now, we're not quite there just yet. We have put in the first high right here. Yes, but in order to actually get divergence, it would need to, 1, trade higher on price, and then 2, put in a lower high on the, at least a 4-hour RSI right here, and then you get that pullback. So for right now, it does look like things are probably going to reconsolidate into a higher low in the very, very high term time frames. This is a bit of an ascending triangle. If you want to be looking at patterns and shit like that, that would have an implied move actually upon confirmation, I should add, and we'll talk about what constitutes confirmation, but that would have an implied target somewhere around low $93,000. Now, what would actually confirm that move? Bitcoin closing one of these lower term timeframes above essentially $90,000. If and when that does happen, yeah, I'd be expecting another move to the upside. Now, here's one of those weird things that I learned early on in my career from my mentor. It's just a weird thing. It's just a really weird thing. But he always told me when something gets to 9 or 90 or 900, it typically just gets that free ride to that round even number. In this case, 100 or 100,000. But I've seen this happen many times, especially in traditional markets. But I suspect that it probably will happen with Bitcoin again. I remember back in 2017 as well, when Bitcoin hit 9,000, it just fucking flew to 10,000 very, 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 very quickly. It's just one of those weird things that typically happens with markets. I don't know why it happens. It's probably a self-fulfilling prophecy. There's no real technical analysis or any sort of analysis behind that. Just a weird observation that I have seen many a time. And a lot of the time, things will trade a little bit higher than that. And then you get the real pullback. And that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. But if we go over here to the HPDR, we can see, Bitcoin is in extreme regions on CME. It is actually just around the 97.5% of historic returns range high, which, it just does not happen often. It does not happen often, obviously only during the most extreme moves. And I would not be even considering at this point, from where things are right now, and I don't think this is going to happen, but, if this happened, this would kind of change my opinion a little bit. But I wouldn't even considering a short-term high on the daily, as long as Bitcoin's above yesterday's low, which is just below $86,000 again on CME. At that point, if Bitcoin does take that out and close below there, I would be looking for that move somewhere around 77 to 78,000 bucks, fill the gap over here, and then try again higher. But I do again suspect, I just have a weird sneaky suspicion that Bitcoin probably continues here first before playing out the real pullback. But just it is fucking crazy to see it hold around these levels right here. Again, it just does not happen often, as 97.5% would imply, especially to one side. That's really more like I guess it would be, so 1.25%, 1.25% of the time. It's just very, 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 very extreme moves. So I'm trying to find the last time we even saw something like this. It was actually, was it back here? Yes, it was back here, March of last year, actually, on this extreme move to the upside. Bitcoin did eventually trade higher after kind of reconsolidating and then played out a correction. Again, I kind of think that that's what's going to happen here as well. So, going back to it, Bitcoin, the more that Bitcoin holds around here, the more that this will have a chance to catch up. And then once it does catch up, especially to even like the top side of the 50% or even 38.2 level, I'd probably be expecting like an actual daily continuation move at that point. Until then, it's likely just short-term time frame moves. We are, I believe, almost at a critical week. No. Oh, wow. I should have looked at the weekly first. Yeah, the weekly is going to decide this one. The way that the weekly's position makes me think that this one wants to travel up to the 78.6 level rather than come back down below the 61.8 level. But of course, it depends where Bitcoin does close on CME by Friday. When Friday does close, if Bitcoin's below 87,000 bucks, okay, fair enough. We're gonna see a short-term consolidation kind of around this region that we're at right now. But assuming that Bitcoin's above there, again on CME, which is trading about $1,000 above that pivot right now, which is nothing, to be fair. We see $1,000 moves like in a 5-minute dildo at this point. I would be looking for Bitcoin to mount an assault somewhere around here, which is 97,000 bucks. At that point, it probably gets a wake up to $200,000. So I do think that this will kind of happen a little bit faster than maybe a lot of people, or at least myself, anticipated. It's very, very possible here. Going over here to some daily price statistics, I do want to get into Wednesday, which is actually the most likely day to close negatively. Now yesterday did close negatively as well, and so that has broken the streak of consecutive green dildos. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 in a row, which based off of the CTS, the CT sequential over here, this is like pretty low probability to continue on with a run like that. But did do a pretty damn good job of kind of forecasting that run. But in this case, for today, Wednesday more likely to close negatively. 60% of all Wednesdays since 2024 began have closed negatively, but hasn't really seen a super negative gain or super negative loss. In terms of in terms of returns, 170 is the average loss on a Wednesday, and we've actually already seen that move to the downside happen. If you are going to be going off of these, and I do suspect that the average to the downside is probably about what you're looking for. If you are looking for downside moves within an overall uptrending move, it's probably not going to go so much lower than that. By contrast to the upside, the top side of the range right now is almost $91,000 for today's dildo. Actually a couple last things here. I want to make sure that I get where did I put my notes? Where's my damn notes? And then actually a couple of things here, metal signals, which, Jesus Christ. Oh my God, that is so fucking loud. I need to turn that off. Hold on, let me turn on streamer mode here for Discord. That is crazy loud. I apologize. Just absolutely raping ears right now. But MetaSignal's been firing off all sorts of crazy signals. They have actually updated their algorithm as of October, and since October, they've actually had above a 69% strike rate for reaching their first target. Now, their first target is usually at least about a 1-to-1 risk to reward. In this case, for Suyu is 1.53. This one hit all 3 targets, obviously, but if you want more of a spoon feeding type thing, perhaps something to keep an eye on. It also comes with all sorts of crazy perks as well. You even get the Joule indicator, which is the driving force behind this. I think they even had a couple of shorts yesterday as well. Ethereum actually hitting all 3 targets, not bad. And in Bitcoin, same shit as well. Pretty much very, very well getting that 3rd target before a nice little pop back onto the upside. One last thing here before we get into the comments, and I think we'll revisit the 5-day setup just really quickly. The 5-day setup, I just want to update on this one. Again, it's still alive here. This one has been, it's doing what it was designed to do: catch the long trending moves and just hold on to them. You can see all corrections down to that red 5 exponential moving average have been bought back on up. Again, this tool that we're using to essentially do the back testing for this strategy is the Crown Quant. Sorry, not the Crown Quant, but the Quant Prime over here, which allows you to create, test, and automate your trades. And this one's it's still gonna be live at least for, I would imagine, at least for another couple periods. When we go into the actual data here, we can find that the average amount of bars in winning trades was 10. So this freshest signal over here began in very early October. 10 bars from that time would put us into November 21st area. So, I still think that we probably have a little bit more upside to go within that time frame. And this trade, again, will close when Bitcoin does close below that red 5 exponential moving average. So fair enough. But we'll continue to update on this one as things do go onwards and forwards. Again, just one of those weird strategies that is intended for longer term trending moves. If it's not a longer term trending move, then it's going to chop around and be very, 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 very small gains and losses either way. All right, sweet. That is where we'll end off on today's video. Again, if you want to join in for these fun these fun live stream types of situations, you can join in with the Q&A session right here in Discord. There is a link in the description below. Theo is asking, why are you gay? I cannot answer that question, sir. It's not about what's right or wrong. It's about what feels good, sir. And that's where we'll end on today's video.